Check 1 2. Check 1 2. Y'all sit tight, man. We about to get started here in about let's see, 15 minutes, y'all. Just chill.
out. We ain't playing no games right now. 2017, baby. Niggas always hated on me. Haters. Since day one. They don't really love the max. That's why I got a gun. Yeah. Niggas trying to test me. Thinking he can press me. What? I'm 9'8" with the coke, but my niggas 2,000 with the Pepsi. Yeah. No more passes. 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 Pull up, we gon' pack you out. These niggas always want shit. Watch 'em. These niggas really envious. Watch 'em. These niggas really cowards. Watch 'em. These niggas is delirious. Watch 'em. No more passes. No more. No more passes. No more. The same niggas always broke. Be the same niggas asking. Got me riding with the 7. YG, I'm a legend. If he move too fast, I'ma shoot too fast, and my 7 gon' dead him. Nigga fuck with me, I will touch him. Press him so hard till I crush him. Press him like a prune or a raisin. Through the fear, get right to desperation. I can smell it, I can smell it. Nigga about to start telling. We ain't even touched dude yet, huh? And he already snitched. No more passes. No more passes. Nigga fuck with me, I'm sending goons and assassins. No more passes. No more passes. No more passes. Pull up, we gon' pack you out. No more passes. No more passes. No more passes. Pull up, we gon' pack you out. Watching all these niggas cause they all snakes. No such thing is easy, just the hard way. Give a nigga room and take the hallway. Waiting on the nigga, you be waiting there all day. Fuck y'all niggas. A lot of you niggas ain't shit. The nigga that you riding with a bitch. Y'all know it. Skinny jean nigga with a switch. I called you out, nigga, now you pissed. All you Twitter gangsters, quit. Stop. All your beats is petty, quit. Stop. Since I got a gun, I'ma use it. What? Keep it real for my fans and the music. Jumping on routes, no pass. No pass. Dropping to the lane, no pass. No pass. Niggas playing games, no pass. No pass. I'ma give them what they want, a reaction. No more passes. No more passes. No more passes. Pull up, we gon' pack you out. No more passes. No more passes. No more passes. Pull up, we gon' pack you out. A lot of you niggas ain't loyal. Different tree, same soil. Fuck around, might even call yourself loyal. Same fountain pen, different oil. I told you these niggas ain't shit. Told you. Riding around with the Rams and the whips. But if you need it, they ain't never got it. Broke niggas. They be them broke niggas always flossing. Y'all know these niggas ain't real out here. Y'all niggas ain't real. All coked up and pills out here. Pill popping. Got these youngsters looking weird out here. You a weirdo, nigga. You ain't from around here. Call a shot, nigga, slow like molasses. Slow, nigga, fake. They ain't really with the action. Let's get a few things clear around here. Ain't gonna be no more passes out here, No more passes. No more passes. No more passes. Pull up, we gon' pack you out. No more passes. No more passes. No more passes. Pull up, we gon' pack you out.
Amen, praise the Lord. I think I'ma join the choir. Cause we was sinning, we was hanging in the field. We had Glocks with extensions, it was wicked and tricky, yeah. Oh, we was sinning, yeah. Oh, we was sinning, yeah. I think that I'ma join the choir. Cause we was sinning, we was hanging in the field. We had Glocks with extensions, man, that shit got real wicked and tricky, yeah. Oh, we was sinning, yeah. Oh, we was sinning, yeah. I think that I'ma join the choir. What you know about losing your best friend, or losing your best man, losing your blood brother from a sister, wishing you can free him again. All the real niggas put y'all hands in the air for the real niggas y'all can lost. All the real niggas chuck y'all gang in the air for all the bitch niggas y'all that's tossed. Man, this shit got real crazy, feel like we losing niggas on the daily. All I had tears in my eyes, anger said somebody need to die. I was trying to get some get back, they killed my homie of a bitch, nigga. I be down, won't get my get back. Let's crack and look at me wrong, that boy about to get his shit pushed back. I think I'ma join the choir. Cause we was sinning, we was hanging in the field. We had Glocks with extensions, it was wicked and tricky, yeah. Oh, we was sinning, yeah. Oh, we was sinning, yeah. I think that I'ma join the choir. Cause we was sinning, we was hanging in the field. We had Glocks with extensions, man, that shit got real wicked and tricky, yeah. Oh, we was sinning, yeah. Oh, we was sinning, yeah. I think that I'ma join the choir. Let me see my homie.
It's not much I can say to these brothers because they've done a lot. We've overcome white supremacy, racism to the point that 60% of us have reached the middle class or we're rich. We are the most educated, we have the most millionaires of every group of men in the United States. This is how successful black men have become. But guess what? We don't get no credit from y'all because you can't. It's not much I can say to these brothers because they've done a lot. We've overcome white supremacy, racism to the point that 60% of us have reached the middle class or we're rich. We are the most educated, we have the most millionaires of every group of men in the United States. This is how successful black men have become. But guess what? We don't get no credit from y'all because you can't. It's not much I can say to these brothers because they've done a lot. We've overcome white supremacy, racism to the point that 60% of us have reached the middle class or we're rich. We are the most educated, we have the most millionaires of every group of men in the United States. This is how successful black men have become. But guess what? We don't get no credit from y'all because you can't. It's not much I can say to these brothers because they've done a lot. We've overcome white supremacy, racism to the point that 60% of us have reached the middle class or we're rich. We are the most educated, we have the most millionaires of every group of men in the United States. This is how successful.
In a world where men are increasingly becoming the minority, the Too Much Moxie podcast is the show where men can come and talk and address some issues that affect them. For example, provider stress syndrome, PSS, is an epidemic affecting today's generation of males. The modern women are more independent and look down on their men, and when you are not being appreciated or celebrated enough as a man, it can lead into serious symptoms such as suicidal, depression, substance abuse, etc., which in fact may be at its root what PSS/provider stress syndrome really means. The goal of the Too Much Moxie podcast is to help men to better understand themselves, their relationships, and what it means to be a man. In today's society, it seems like the only thing that matters is being rich, successful, and powerful. But what about those of us who are not? What about those of us who are not rich or successful and feel like we don't fit in? What about those of us who don't have a lot of friends or family members that care about us? What do we do when no one else is there to help us through the hard times, and how can we help ourselves? I personally believe that men need other men around them at all times, but what happens when we lose our sense of masculinity and become more feminine as well? How do we get back on track and reclaim what it means to be a man? The Too Much Moxie podcast will cover many topics related to this topic, including relationships, sex, and dating.
I feel like I join the choir. Shit, I should go to church. Amen. Praise the Lord. Amen. Amen. Praise the Lord. I think I'ma join the choir. best friend, or losing your best man. Lose your blood brother from a sister, wishing you can free him again. All the real niggas put your hands in the air for the real niggas y'all getting lost. All the real niggas tug y'all gain the air for all the bitch niggas y'all done talk. Man, this shit got real crazy, feel like we losing niggas on the daily. All I had tears in my eyes, anger said somebody need to die. I was trying to get some get back, they killed my homie of a bitch, nigga. I be down, won't get my get back. Let's crack a look at me wrong, that boy about to get his shit pushed back. I think I'ma join the choir, cause we was sinning, we was hanging in the field. We had Glocks with extensions, it was wicked and tricky, yeah. Oh, we was sinning, yeah. Oh, we was sinning, yeah. I think that I'ma join the choir, cause we was sinning, we was hanging in the field. We had Glocks with extensions, man, that shit got real wicked and tricky, yeah. Oh, we was sinning, yeah. Oh, we was sinning, yeah. I think that I'ma join the choir.
Welcome to the Too Much Moxie podcast. I am your humble host, Too Much, and I'm definitely in the building. Oh, we here, man. We about to get this thing started, about to get this conversation going. We're waiting on my co-host to pop in, and we do have a special guest. I'm probably going to open up the panel. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how many people join the room today. A lot of people would like to watch the replay, but we about to jump into it, man. We about to get into it. We about to start this conversation. Y'all see the thumbnail: Black women and black male leadership. Right? Y'all see the title: Are Black women a barrier to black male leadership? But we're also using a caveat. We're going to add also, is white supremacy or the white man a barrier to black male leadership? We're going to also add those in, because those are the two issues, right? Is it the black woman holding the black man down? Is it the white man holding the black man down? Are they the ones preventing black male leadership, us to exert our leadership? That's what we're going to talk about today. And this started with the Clubhouse conversation, y'all. I was in a group. Actually, I went in the group twice, and it was very interesting, man. You know, being attacked intellectually by black women. It was very interesting. I'll tell you that. It was very interesting to see the condescending remarks. Well, show us your leadership, then. Show us your leadership. So, you know, I thought, you know, I gave these women the benefit of the doubt that they were coming in good faith. We just got one of our guests just popped in. I'll bring you up in just a second here. Just hang tight. But it was very interesting to be in this room with these intellectual black women and be attacked and be asked, not really just attacked, but be asked some serious questions about black male leadership. What is really preventing the black male leadership? That's what we're going to talk about today. And I'm waiting for my co-host, Walter Downing, to jump on, and then we'll bring up our guest, top of today. I believe she is a licensed therapist, a relationship therapist. And we're going to have the conversation. What is holding the black man back? What is preventing black male leadership? What is the true barrier for black male leadership? Is it the black woman? Is it the white man? What's holding us back? And we're gonna get into that. But okay, we're still waiting on the big Walter Downing here. I know he said he's coming. Hopefully there's no technical difficulty, but we do have our guest back there. She'll be popping up, and I'll allow her to introduce herself and shout out her social media platforms. But yeah, we're about to get started here, you guys. Just still waiting here for the big Walter Downing, man, because I would like him to actually introduce our guest and bring her up. Let me text him real quick. Just give me one moment. One moment here before we get this thing started here. Find out what's the technical difficulty right now. Okay, he's texting me right now. The guest is already here, sir. But you are not. All right. everybody see what's going on here. It happens, y'all. We're gonna get into it though. We're gonna have a conversation. Like I said, we might have an open panel. We shall see. But I would like to have some discussions. If you would like to come up on the panel, just leave me a comment. Let me know. We got Brother Malachi Bryan said he's looking forward to this. Brother Malachi, if you'd like to come on up, you're definitely more than welcome to come up on the panel. All I ask is that you do be respectful. You don't have to necessarily be on camera, but you do have to show yourself so I know that you're a real person. And no trolling. We don't do trolls. We do not do trolls here. We just don't do it. We don't do trolls. We don't do trolls. Not on YouTube. On Clubhouse, you can troll all you want to. There we go. The big Walter Downey just popped in. Y'all see my co-host with the frizzy hair. With the frizzy hair. What's going down? How you been, man?
Oh, I've been good. Man, I almost didn't get in. I had to restart my thing.
Okay. Well, you're in here,
I was like,
man.
no.
You're in here, man. We about to have this conversation, man. Y'all see my co-host, the big Walter Downing. The topic is, are Black women a barrier to Black male leadership? We do have our special guest that we're about to bring up. I would like actually Walter to introduce our guest and let her introduce herself. And then I'll play a quick video and then we'll jump in to the topic. Okay, so let me bring her up from the back to the front. From the back to the front, we have Shaniqua Mone. So go ahead, Walter, introduce our guest, and then we'll let our guest introduce herself as well.
Oh, yeah, for sure. This is Shaniqua Mone. She has she's a licensed therapist, and she has a Facebook group called why is it leaving my mind? Black Love, and she helps you the Black community or anybody that wants to reach out to her get over hurt. And she has her own story as well. So welcome, Shaniqua.
Thank you so much. Hi, everyone. As Walter introduced me and said, I am Shaniqua Mone, licensed psychotherapist and the author of the most therapeutic self-help workbook currently on the market, Help, I'm Hurting from Cycles of Broken Relationships. And as Walter said, I'm a big advocate of, Black love and just our culture, period.
Awesome. So tell us a little bit more about your story here. Walter said you have a story, your own personal story that you'd like to share with us here.
Yes. So I am a mom of 4, and out of those 4 children, I were in 3 different relationships. And I've always been this super, super big advocate for love. But, unfortunately, I had to learn, what love was for myself within the community and who I was with and what they needed as well for this relationships to be successful. So even though I have been in these different cycles of broken relationships, I end up enduring through learning how to not only love myself, but love the Black man and support the Black man as well, and understanding, where he is and what he needs help with to be, a successful Black man in our society.
Okay, perfect. Okay, man. So this is going to be a great topic. Then, hope you don't mind. I am going to, I'm going to be very direct. But this is a very respectful place. We respect Black women. We love Black women, even though people like to think differently, because we like to hold women accountable here. We're not going to hold back on that. We hold Black men to the highest level of accountability. And guess what? Because women today want to be equal to men, we got to hold them at the same level. They say equal rights, equal lefts. We believe in that over here. We want y'all to be comfortable though, and feel free to speak your mind, but stand your square and answer some of the tough questions. And like I said, I was in a room with a bunch of intellectual Black women, man, and they swore up and down there was no maliciousness in their intent, but they asked some very, very interesting and tough questions, man. And it hurt my heart. One of the questions they asked was, how do you feel as a man, as a Black man, being a conquered species? I was like, oh, why would you ask? Am I conquered? I didn't know I was. Well, the white man is on top. I'm at the bottom. How do you feel being at the bottom? So I'm like, do I want to play along? And I know Walter's not going to play along with this. He's going to just check that at the door. But I said, let me play along. Let me play along. I said, you know what? It doesn't feel good. I'll tell you that. It doesn't feel good as a black man knowing that that I have the worst stereotype to overcome. Right? You know, they think we're predators. They think we're gang members. They think we're thugs. They think we're not intelligent. They think we don't bring any value to society. You know, and you know what I hang my hopes on is stats. There's data out there that says otherwise, right? 61% of black men are in the middle class or rich, but we're in a white supremacist system. Matter of fact, today's data shows that the most millionaires in the United States are black men. So I guess I'm oppressed, but we still balling. We still balling out here. So, you know, that's how I have to combat that. But they didn't like those answers. Unfortunately, they wanted me to give you the victim mentality, the victim, the woe is me, the white man's holding me down, the black woman is the barrier and she won't follow me, and I can't do nothing if she don't listen, right? So, you know, they asked some tough questions. So, Walter, man, I'm gonna ask you the question, man. Play along just for the day, man. How do you feel being a conquered species, man? Being a conquered man on this earth, man. How do you feel about that, brother? Do you feel conquered out here, man? Are you upset because the black woman's waiting on you to liberate them from white supremacy and you haven't done it yet, man? So how do you feel about that, brother?
Well, honestly, I don't really feel conquered because I have unsubscribed to so many things of this world that I just do. I do me. I do God. But you know, as a people, we are conquered because as I said it before in the show, what happens is when one nation conquers another nation, they they lock up the men or they kill the men and they take captive the women and the children and they force the women and the children to follow in their customs. And so even growing up, I had to learn how to be free from the position that they want the black man to be in, and I had to learn how to free others from a captive mind. Because instead of us black men and women vibing with each other, we're vibing with other entities and trying to have each other bow down to each other via those entities. And those entities are tricking us in a emperor's new clothes type of way, saying, yeah, be like this, it's cool, get your partner to take part in this, get your kids to take part in this, get your family to take part in this. And all we're doing is subscribing to exploitation, and really that's subscribing to abuse and self-hate. And so in order to not be conquered, and this is how I had to free myself, I had to unsubscribe from so many things. And that brought the proper healing, because in my opinion, there's a right way to heal and there's a wrong way to heal. And there's a lot of people out there healing wrong. They still have infection. They still have relationship infection. They still have relationship poor circulation and all the other things that keep you from healing. And so just to answer your question, I don't feel conquered, but we need to free other people.
Okay, I like that. Shaniqua, I want to ask you the same question, man. How do you feel? And you can answer it any way you want to answer it, you know. How do you feel that the black man or black people, if you want to include yourself in that, are conquered? We're at the bottom.
I think in today's society, we are definitely climbing up a ladder to where we are realizing that we have a voice and we have a place in society. We are starting to realize and recognize that there are tools out there for us to be able to climb this ladder of success and wealth that we felt like we could never climb before. So I do definitely think that, you know, now in this day and age, we are starting to conquer a lot of things before we didn't realize we could not conquer. But as Walter also said, there are still those gray lines in between, the boundaries between who and what, and when they can conquer what needs to be conquered based upon our mindsets and where we are and how we think and our ability to be self-aware enough to be able to realize the parts that we're playing in our position of conquering what needs to be conquered to be able to grow as a culture.
Okay, let me ask you this: do you feel like do you feel like you're separated from the black man? Like the black man is lower than the black woman?
I don't. I do feel like when it comes to the black man and the black woman, it should be as one. I feel like, we do have a lot of women in society who are in a position to where we have found ourselves and we may be financially in positions that may be higher than some black men, but I don't think that gives us leverage to say we, are not equal, or we're in a higher position than the man. I feel like, we as a black woman and a black man are equal and we're one.
What if you're more educated than him though, and he's not as educated as you? Are you still superior to him and he's at the bottom?
I don't feel like he's superior and he's still at the bottom. I feel like that's where I come in. If we bring, like Walter said, I'm all about, not just my perspective, but bringing biblical in it and where we're supposed to be. The woman came from the man's rib. She's there to help. So even if she's more educated than him, I feel like she was created to be his helpmate, to be able to, share that experience and share that education she has with him and help enlighten him, because then he can take that and he can add something to it that only he can add to it because he's the man and he was created to be that man and lead. So I still don't feel like, in that position, a woman should look at herself as being superior to him.
Let me ask you this question. Great talking points there. Let me ask you this question. Why do you think so many black men feel like the black woman is holding them down? Why do you think black men might feel that way? Maybe not all black men. Why do some black men feel that the black woman is holding him back, preventing him from getting to that next level?
I think a lot of it does have to do with, and this goes for the black man and black woman, but unresolved, traumas. A lot of time when a man may be seeking certain things from a woman due to the traumas he's been through, that is going to cloud his vision and how he's, looking at it. But also, I do think a lot culture honestly have gotten to the point to where they are so headstrong about I do make more, or I am more educated than him. So in a sense, they forget to look at him, as her being that helpmate for him. And so that man starts to feel like I don't have the support from her, or if it's the constant, nagging about what he's not doing or what he should be doing, or him not understanding her role or her job as a mother, as a wife, as, his partner, and carries a heavy load as well, but just in a different way. So I feel like that has a lot to do with why the man does feel like, in a sense, a woman may be holding him down or holding him back from getting where he needs to, because we all need that love and that support. And a lot of women, instead of realizing that society has conformed us to push away from our men, they don't embrace them and they don't, ask what is it that I could do to help you in this moment to be the man that you need to be. So a lot of times when I hear men say it is the woman, I do see both sides of it, but I do think that women does have a great part in playing in the downfall of why it is hard for some of our black men to really rise back up in society the way that they need to.
Awesome. Okay. Very well said.
Great point. Because I have a question to both of you when it comes to that. How, since we're all adults and it's hard for adults to change ways, like how do we heal or how do we seek healing to for chemistry purposes? I'll give an example. Like if you have like a basketball athlete, right? So, that's making a lot of money. Some people, but that person might be an all-star athlete, but the coach will be like, I don't know, because that person's an all-star, they might not be coachable because they make so much money and blah, blah, blah. Because you have a lot of athletes on teams that's all-stars, but the team can't make it past 500 or half their wins, because of their mindset. And some players actually have to go to camp, learn how to be, learn how to get the chemistry to be a part of a team that could actually make it to the playoffs or make it to the championship. If I'm making any sense. So how do we become that person or heal to become that person to where we're not just an all-star on a team and the team's not winning?
Personal growth, personal development. Everybody has to do their own work. That would be my answer. Everybody has to be held accountable. Everybody has to be able to take constructive criticism. See, men are able to deal with criticism because we deal with it on a daily basis. Hey, man, you're too short, you're too fat, you're not talented enough, you're broke. I mean, we tell each other straight up, like, hey, man, you suck. You need to get better. Women aren't used to hearing that. You tell them, it's very difficult for a man to actually love a woman, and I do believe love is correction. It's very difficult for a man to love his wife today or love his woman today because she doesn't like the way that man loves her, even though he's loving her to try to make her better, to bring her up, not put her down. It's taken as an attack always. And I'm a man that just believes in being direct and letting the chips fall where they may. If she misunderstands my direct approach, I don't know any better way to communicate, because men, we want to find the simplest way to get our point across so we can get the job done. Men are all about executing. We want to execute. We want to finish what we start, not leave unfinished business. We don't want to get distracted by many different things. So men are actually putting in the work. Black men have put in a lot of work from the 1980s till today, and we still got some more work to do. Like I said, we have to find a way to come out from underneath the bottom, and we do need to liberate our women out of this white supremacy system. So. But go ahead, Shaniqua.
Like you said, it definitely takes one of the biggest things, like you said, is self-awareness. You got to be self-aware enough to be able to realize where your traumas have caused you to, look at and view the things around you from a different perspective, and where it's also causing you to look at and view, your significant other or anybody around you's life from a different perspective. It's all about being self-aware enough to know that your attitudes, your biases, and how you have, your outlook on life, how it's formed, is based off of your past experiences, based off of your traumas. And if you cannot understand that, then you're not going to be able to understand how it's affecting your significant other or the person around you or whomever you're trying to support and grow with. So you have to totally be self-aware in order to even start the journey of healing, and be willing to say, hey, some of my ideas and biases and attitudes may have stemmed from my trauma, may have stemmed for things that I didn't know. I got to be willing to open up and change and say, I want to hear you and how you feel and how you see it. And then we can take both of our views and figure out, how we can be more understanding to each other and how we can move forward with making both people feel validated in their views and how they feel.
Okay, very well said. Very well said. Let me pivot a little bit. I want to play the video, the feature video for the show that talks about the Black woman barrier and the white man barrier, and then we're going to get into the actual topic of, are Black women a barrier to Black male leadership, and also as a caveat, is the white man a barrier to Black male leadership? So let me start the video, and then we'll continue the show.
Leadership? It has been a very interesting political cycle so far, to say the least. And while many people have noticed that there is a lot of blame being thrown around in this political climate, I think there's also something else going on here. The race for Black male leadership is a white supremacist narrative. In fact, we can see this playing out just by looking at the statistics. Less than 15% of Black men are not married to Black women in America today. Only 0.1% of CEOs are African American males, and there are only 5 African Americans men who own billion-dollar companies. The rest are Oprah, Rihanna, and African or Caribbean brothers. I did not include Ye because we all witnessed what happened to that brother. The race for Black male leadership is a white supremacist narrative. To understand the history of this race, we must go back to the beginning and examine who created it and why. First, let's look at how African identity did not originate in Africa. Rather, it began as an invention that would eventually be used against us. African people have been living all over the world for thousands of years before Europeans were even aware of our existence on Earth. We are a multi-ethnic and multinational people who have lived throughout Asia and Europe since ancient times. But when Europeans came along, they named us Negroes, the Latin word for black, because they thought they had found another continent full of blacks, Africa. The truth is that there are many different tribes within Africa with their own cultures, languages, and traditions, but because Europeans wanted to dehumanize Africans by making them seem primitive heathen savages who ate each other's brains every day after killing each other with spears in order to survive during their journey across oceans without water bottles or life jackets, and no one even cared about these poor souls, they made up stories about cannibalism which has since been proven false by modern anthropologists and historians. African identity did not originate in Africa. Africa is not a country. It's a continent with 54 countries, each with its own language and culture. So when you say African American or African American culture, you are in fact saying American culture. The same can be said for the term Black Lives Matter. Because they do, all lives matter. Why are we segregating our movement? We need to stop dividing ourselves into ethnic groups. It weakens our power as a community to claim any kind of real liberation from white supremacy if we continue to think of ourselves as separate tribes struggling against each other instead of working together toward common goals like ending police brutality and achieving reparations for slavery victims who were never compensated for their suffering under chattel bondage. American black people are a multi-ethnic and multinational people. American black identity did not originate in Africa. It's a European invention. African identity is an artificial construct, for the purposes of enslaving Africans and denigrating them as inferior. And it makes no sense to embrace this artificial construct over the natural one that exists, which is why I call myself a foundational Black American instead of American Black, or African American. I am FBA because I was born a different color than the people around me. I FBA because my ancestors were enslaved by elite whites, and when they arrived in America they were stripped of their names, cultures, languages, religions and laws. They were forced to live like animals on plantations where they were beaten, raped and worked to death. I am FBA because my ancestors were the ones who built this country when most of the colonies were failing. My ancestors provided free labor that built the majority of the country's wealth. The elite white power structure have been trying to divide and conquer us from the very beginning. They've invented countless ways to keep us from seeing our own power, including slavery, colonialism and Jim Crow laws. White supremacists have always known that if we unite, it will be impossible for them to continue their oppression. When we are strong together as men and women of color, black men benefit from the strength as well. Do you see what's happening here? We are being played against each other. It is a game, and that game is racist. It is not black women versus black men. It's not even two separate issues, sexism and racism. We must recognize the racist game being played and use our power for good to unify and heal, instead of continuing to tear each other down with blame and victimization, which is exactly what the system wants us to do. The game of racism is being played by white supremacists. The goal of the game is to keep us divided, vulnerable, and powerless by focusing our attention on each other instead of the real enemy, white supremacy. But we can win this game. And when we do, it will be because we've learned how to use our power for good instead of evil, and that means recognizing that white supremacy exists, as well as recognizing that racism isn't just about individual acts committed by individual people. It also has structural components, i.e., systems, and historical precedents, i.e., past events. This means that black men need to recognize their own culpability in perpetuating these structures so they can work on changing them. Similarly, black women need to realize that there are some things about them that need to be addressed in perpetuating these structures, that enhance the agenda of elite whites and their system of supremacy. Notice I am not blaming white people, or the white man, but am pointing out the systems and structures that elite whites use to keep us all divided. I am calling out the matrix. There are many black women who genuinely and sincerely love brothers in the black community, but at the same time I realize that many black women do not support black men in the way that they should. You are right, the black community is a family. The black man is the head of the family and he needs to start showing some respect for black women. Black women need to start showing some respect for black men. Black men should also show more respect toward other brothers as well. The media constantly portrays black men as being unintelligent or thugs or criminals, which isn't true at all. 61% of black men are in the middle class or rich, and black men make up the majority of millionaires in this country. There are many black women who genuinely and sincerely love brothers in the black community, but at the same time I realize that many black women do not support black men in the way that they should. The black community is a family, and it should be treated as such. We need to start supporting each other in order to get out of this rut we're in. The media has brainwashed us into thinking that we are not capable of achieving anything without white people's help. We are so quick to judge one another and condemn one another for any small mistake or flaw. Let's be honest. We are quick to judge each other, and we are even quicker to condemn one another for any small mistake or flaw. But this mentality must change if we really want black men to lead and black women to support black leadership. We need to show more grace to one another while still holding each other accountable. We must show respect to our brothers and sisters without allowing emotions to cloud our judgment. We must do what my dad used to tell me as a child. Watch your temper and control your tongue. We must stop saying the most disrespectful things to one another in public, just because we are hurt or feel shame. It's time that we start building up each other instead of tearing each other down. So where does that leave us? Nowhere. Most black male superstars in entertainment and sports are not married to a black woman. They are married to white women. Or women from other communities. Now, before you get all bent out of shape, let me be clear, black women are not a barrier to black male leadership. Why? Because as black men we can choose to marry whomever we want. Black men can have a family with any woman he chooses, and that child will still be black and part of the community. Black men can choose to be with a woman that will get on his page and doesn't have to marry any woman that is not willing to follow his lead. In fact, black women can be an asset if they choose to. But most don't choose to be an asset because they would rather be strong and independent than act as a team player that's willing to support her man in his endeavors for the betterment of himself and his community. So where does that leave us? Nowhere. Even though 85% of black men that are married have a black wife, 15% are married to non-American black women, white and other, and is expected to double in the next 5 years. Black men are still exercising their leadership, but they are just choosing women who are more traditional and submissive, who are not necessarily from the black community. Many are rejecting the image of their mothers, because most black men grew up under the tyranny of single motherhood, in which they are trying to escape. Hence the surgency and mainstream of the passport brothers. This is not new information. It has been going on for decades now and continues today with no end in sight. So what do? How do we fix this problem? Do we even want it fixed? The answer is yes. We must come together as one people under God with one common goal, freedom from oppression, tyranny and injustice, so that we may truly be free from bondage forevermore. The real question is, what do you think about the topic? We are being played against each other. We are so quick to judge one another and condemn one another for any small mistake or flaw. When you look at the numbers, it is clear that black men who are still single are not choosing to marrying modern black women. Conclusion. So, what is the conclusion of this video? Black women are not a barrier to black male leadership. Black women have a role to play in the success of black men, but they are not the reason why they are not leading. White men or white supremacy is not a barrier to black male leadership. Black men are their own worst enemy and their own greatest asset. Black men need to create an environment where they can thrive and grow. They do not need to blame the black woman or the white man. They only need to go where they are celebrated, get on code with each other as a collective, and stand up against systematic racism and begin to lead and exert leadership, not just individually but also as part of the collective. When black men do this, not only will black women follow suit, but the world as a whole will follow suit as well. Black men as a collective are the true messiah and saviors of themselves. Black men need only get on code. Please like, share, subscribe, and leave a comment. Thanks for watching. This is Too Much Moxie, and I am out. Peace.
All right, y'all seen the video. What do y'all think about the video, man? Was that a good video?
It was definitely a good video.
Walter, you like that video, man?
Oh yeah, I like it, and it brings me to a question, but go ahead.
No, go ahead. Ask the question, man. Please jump in. This is a popcorn hour. Go ahead and talk. Let's get this conversation started. Let's move the goalpost here and get it to where it needs to be.
Oh yeah. I like that. Where it says, we're accountable for our own things. But I just wonder, how do we how do we bring unity in our accountability? Once we start finding that we're accountable for certain things and want to start taking leadership, how do we get it to all come together? I'll give you an example. Let's bring kids into this because I've been doing singles and couples ministry for a long time, and one of the biggest traumas in relationships has to do with kids. Like the man will come into, let's say a father comes into a marriage or a relationship, and he realizes what he needs to do and how he needs to be accountable. And he'll start getting the kids in line. But then the mother, whether he's a stepdad or whether he's biological or whatever, she'll say, "Oh, you're just being too hard on them." And I say, wait a minute, this is a decent man. This isn't a Pookie and Ray Ray. You got with him because you thought he was decent. So is he not decent enough to lead the family when it comes to the children? Because sometimes the man will address some big things like what we addressed on the show before. Like sometimes the mom will have the kids like on disability when they don't need to be on disability, or have them on meds. He's like, look, we got to stop. But then she's so subscribed to the entities out here and the institutions out here, like, oh, my kids got to have these meds, this disability, blah, blah, blah. And it's hard to get that leadership to come together. So I'm just wondering about how do we get the family healing also with that?
Well, that's not a man in a home. I don't know any man that's going to sit there and allow their kids to take meds. I grew up in the 80s, man. You know, we had something called ADHD and all that stuff like that. That was before we had the medication. You know, you give your kids sugar, he run around and go crazy and all that stuff. But one thing I love about my dad, you know, that's why it's good to have a father in the home. He was not playing that, man. They were not putting me on no meds. That you know what the answer was? Let him run him till he gets tired. Run him. We're going to make him do more chores. We're going to make him do more exercises. We're going to cut down his sugar intake. That was the answer back then. It wasn't no give this kid some medication and things like that. And I know many, I have friends, man, who have admitted that their mother, because they were raised by a single mother, that their mother told them to go into this office and pretend like you're crazy so we can get a check.
Wow.
And
trauma.
Yeah, those things traumatize the kid. And he would tell me, well, I'm slow. Man, you ain't slow. What are you talking about, brother? I talk to you every day, man. You're an intelligent, you can formulate thoughts, ideas, you know right from wrong. There's nothing slow about you, bro. You just need to sit there and apply yourself and focus. See, men come in and we set standards. Like my dad set standards, man. I was not allowed to get a B in elementary school or high school. The standard was, hey, you're Maxie, we do great things, go and be great. I don't accept any mediocrity. My dad ran the house. My dad had a military background. He ran the house like a military, bro. We had to clean our windowsill. Your room wasn't clean until the windowsill was clean. And he would take a white glove and press it across the windowsill. And if there was any dirt, your room wasn't clean. So it's called standards. It's called standards in the home. I put something on Facebook, from 0 to 3, a child needs nurturing. But from 3 till adult, that child needs structure and discipline. And that's what's lacking in the home. Men, what we have to do as men, first of all, we have to remove the women out of the equation, because as men, we have to come together and decide amongst men what is masculine and what is feminine. Men decide that, not women. We've been allowing women I don't believe women need to be in all our conversations. We do have to have some closed door meetings and come out and say, hey, Pookie and Ray Ray, we're not taking this no more. The educated men need to get together, and the regular blue collar men need to get together, and the gangsters and thugs need to come together and say, hey man, you need to stop it. And if you don't stop it, these are going to be real consequences in our community. We're no longer going to accept y'all to run around and rapid sell drugs. We are taking back our community, and we have to have that conversation as men. Women can't be involved in that. They don't need to be involved in that. This is something that men need. Men set the precedent, so we need to set it. We need to say, hey, this is the standard. This is what a masculine man looks like. This is what an effeminate male looks like. So that's the difference. We set the tone. This is what regal looks like. Regal, we need to say, okay, pretty boys or whatever, this is masculine. This is not masculine. We have to set that tone. And we're not doing that because we're allowing way too many things to just pass by. We're just accepting, oh, that brother's from the streets. Oh, that brother's a lame. We're accepting stereotypes that we shouldn't accept. Other communities don't call educated men lames. We allow our women to call educated men lame. Oh, he's a lame. I'm looking for scammers and rappers and what? We allow our women to tell us who's masculine? That's very, very wrong. And that's the problem. That's the problem when you have single mother homes. You have women telling men how to be men. And that should never happen. Men need to get together and say, this is a man and this is what not a man is. And then we come back and we get our women together and we get our children together. But we as the head have to get our mind right first. That's what I feel. Shaniqua, I'll let you go ahead and answer that question.
I think, one of the things, Walter, that you said, the biggest response to that and what we need to realize, it's not you versus him or him versus you. It's you two versus the problem. And, like you said, even with being a licensed therapist, I am one of the therapists, one of the few therapists that will outwardly say I am against medicine, and especially giving medicine to, kids in our culture. That's for anybody in any culture. But I'm one of the ones who I will stand up and I will tell my clients, if you want that, you're going to have to go elsewhere. Because I believe, like you said, in being able to say, hey, there's a problem here. And we're not just going to mask this problem with medicine. We're going to get to the root of what the problem is and what's causing this. And we're going to move forward together and figure it out. And if we work on this together, I see everybody coming together to really be, a team and to support, this child or this person who's having these problems. And that's not working way later on down the line, then okay, maybe we will, revisit that. But a lot of times it's just being not one step up and take responsibility in doing what they have to make sure out and succeed in society without feeling like they need medicine. So I am against medicine. That's not okay. So I agree with you. I think it needs to be together and realize there's a problem. We need to be together, whether it's us being together, whether it's for the sake of just raising children in society. We're going to come and allow the father to step in and be father. And mama needs to kind of take a step back and allow him to do that if he's willing. Because a lot of times, like you said, due to personal feelings in the relationships, they don't want to step aside. They want to have too much input. Let him be a father. Let him help with that if there's a need there and you see it, instead of just saying, we're going to go and put this child on medicine and we're going to go and say my child has this disability. Because I know a lot of children who thinks they have a disability, and after working with them, like you said, there's nothing wrong with them at all. You can just tell that it's just parents who don't want to stand up and be parents and really get to the root of the problem.
Very well said. Very well said. Walter, let me ask you a direct question, man. Are Black women a barrier to Black male leadership? And especially using that example as children and one wanting to dope the kids and the man not wanting that. Are Black women a barrier?
In my opinion, in general, no. But to me, it goes case by case, because if you're a barrier, you're a barrier. But it just depends on the on what you're subscribing to, how you're treating a man, and even as a man, how you're being a leader as a man. Because I've seen men in singles and couples ministry that has come to me and said, you know what, I'm stressed out, my wife isn't doing this and blah, blah, blah. And then I asked the husband, have you given your family direction? Have you been direct with your family? Have you been intentional with your family? And he'll say, well, I just got to do my thing as a man. I said, have you given your family direction? And he'll say, no. Well, then, you know what? You're your own barrier. If you don't give your family the proper direction, they're just going to go for what they know. And you're trying to shoulder it all, but you're your own worst enemy, like the video said. So sometimes it can be the woman being a barrier, being subscribing to the world, and sometimes it could be the man being a barrier by subscribing to the world or not giving the direction that he needs to give and trying to shoulder it all. And so it's important to identify the problem, because when you identify the problem, then that's when true leadership can take place. When you identify the problem, that's when people can get to where they need to be respectively in whatever role they play in that relationship or marriage. And then that's where we go. And so I guess to answer the question, anybody can be a barrier at any given time. It just depends on what they're subscribing to, or what's in their mind or what's in their spirit. And so once we figure that out, and then we get everybody to me, two things need to happen. The family needs to get on one accord, and then as a people, through all our different beliefs and whatnot, we need to figure out how to get on one accord as a people in this world.
Okay. Shaniqua, I'm going to ask you the same question. Are Black women a barrier to Black male leadership?
I agree with what Walter said. I do think that they can be a barrier. And I'm coming from I do think that they can. And I also think, depending on the situation, no, they're not. But from the perspective of they can be a barrier, just from a lot of women that I see, especially in this new generation, and not understanding from what the video said, how we have been conditioned to be against our men, by believing that our men have just become lazy. They don't want to do anything, not realizing that over time, there's statistics that prove at one point we were, the money makers. As far as the men were money makers. And a lot of stuff happened in society to where that was taken from us when that started happening. So I do feel like in one way, women can be barriers because we don't want to be vulnerable. We don't want to, let that wall down and actually allow a man to come in and be the man that he needs to be. So you do have some men out here, and women who are not on that page. And, in that case, a woman may not be the barrier. But overall, there's a lot of women in our society that I do believe, are barriers because, no, you can't stop a man from being a man. But at the same time, everybody, even us as women, we need somebody by us, supporting us and pushing us and motivating us. And unfortunately, if you don't have that woman that also understands the mission and, the path and goal that you're both on, it can hinder him from fulfilling and carrying out the duties he needs to carry out as a man. So I do believe that, in certain circumstances, a woman can be a barrier to a man's leadership.
Okay. Since you guys say it like that, I still stand that they're not a barrier. The reason why I say that they're not a barrier because men, just like men hold women accountable, saying they need to choose their partner wisely. Men also need to choose wisely. Go where you're celebrated. Choose a woman that will follow you. Stop, men. We're very visual. We like to choose. We want the best that we can get. Same with women. We want the best that we can get visually. We're looking at this beautiful woman. We want a 10. But do you really want a 10, brother? Are you willing to put up with her narcissism because she knows she's a 10? Are you willing to, submit to her because that's what a 10 is going to require you to submit to her? Because there is something called the law of the lid. If you're a 7 in looks and she's a 10 in looks, I don't know, brother. That might not be who you need to be striving. I don't care how much money you got in your bank. Your bank account makes you attractive to that 10, right? But how long is she going to submit? Really? Because submission is bought. Let's be real. Submission is bought. If you're broke and dusty, chances are, if you're in the Black community and you're broke and dusty, you're not going to have a woman submitted to you. Matter of fact, the men who are in the middle class right now, men who are making the average men who are making $50,000 a year, you're having a tough time finding women right now, aren't you? Because the women don't want $50,000 men anymore. They want 100,000 plus, even though because women don't understand data and numbers, $100,000 men are in the top 20%, 15% of society. That's ludicrous to think that for a woman to think that that she deserves or should get a man who makes six figures. It's much more simpler and wiser for a woman to say, okay, let me find an ambitious brother, right? Somebody who's ambitious and let me do all I can to help him move up to get there, right? But we have women that come in with that mindset. Let me take a broken Dusty and make him ambitious and change him and try to say, hey man, we're going to do this and this and that. And that doesn't work. See, once a man reaches about 35, that's as ambitious as he's going to get, meaning he's not changing. Once you get a woman around that age too, guess what? That's your woman. She's not changing. Very few people know how to reinvent themselves. It takes a lot of hard work. I know because I've done it. Not many people are willing to go through what I went through to build myself up into the man that I am today. It's extremely difficult to change your stripes if you got stripes on already. Mm-hmm. Not many people are willing to do it. I always say it like this: in a relationship or in a marriage, once the respect is gone, that relationship is over. There's no reason to fight anymore. There's no reason to try to go back. There's no reason to try to work it out. Once that woman loses respect in you, you're not getting that back, brother. Again, it will take the woman to have to change your mind, not you. You can say, oh, I'm a better man now. But once she's lost that respect, you might as well chalk it up as a loss and walk away, because you're not gonna be able to change those stripes again. So my thing is this: no, they're not a barrier, because we can go find women who won't be a barrier. That's why I feel like it's not a barrier. You go where you're celebrated. You go where the woman respects you, and you build your family. You make it happen. Men, the reason why Passport Bros is so man, it's not like it hasn't been going. It's been going on. My dad was in the military. My dad used to tell me, you should have been half white. I should have married that Danish girl. Well, I'm glad you didn't, because I'm here, but it's been happening all the time. Men have been going overseas and finding women of value to them that they know is going to get on their page. And my thing is this: it doesn't have to be a white woman. It doesn't have to be a Hispanic woman. You can actually find a black woman. Black women are all over the place. They're in Brazil. They're in Colombia. They're all over Africa. You can find you a traditional woman if you want to get on your page. So no, the black woman is not a barrier to leadership. Men need to be more direct with women and stop lying to women. And that way, they'll, you'll get your respect. My dad used to, being raised by a man is a wonderful thing, because my dad used to tell me all the time, stop looking for love, look for respect. What you want is respect. Stop trying to get everybody to like you. When I was growing up, I wanted to be likable. I still think I'm a likable person, right? But there are times where, people don't like me. But you know what? I found out that people, when I'm more not likable, people respect me more, because they know I stand for something. Mm-hmm. My friends used to say all the time, man, oh, we don't want to bring Max around. He's going to mess everything up, because he's going to tell the woman this. Yeah, because I was very direct. I was like, hey, this is what it is. This is what it isn't. I was in college dating a young woman, and we went out for a meal, and we went to double date with my homeboy, and he took us to this expensive restaurant. And when I looked at the menu, I looked at my girl, and hey, we can't eat here. And his date was like, oh, what? She's not worth it? She's not worth it? I said, listen, ma'am, I'm in college. I got bills to pay. I go to work, and I play football, and I go to school. I can't, y'all may be able to afford this, right? But I can't. And I got up and I took my girl to Denny's, right? And she didn't like that. Oh, did she not like that? All of a sudden, she wasn't hungry anymore. and I just ordered my food and started eating. That's probably was the worst thing to do, because you know that relationship crashed and burned after like maybe it lasted one more week. But that was me, you know, being programmed by my dad, I guess, to just be truthful. Hey, I can't afford this. Let's go somewhere. Let's go eat somewhere where I can afford. We can afford. I can get you Denny's. You know, we can get a 2-for-1 special. But that's not popular. That's not popular. So what I mean to say is, you know, men need to stop lying to women and start being more direct with women, and then letting them come to the decision on their own if they want to be with you or not. Men are too, you know, because we want sex so much, right? You know, when we're young, we're just, you know, we're trying to have sex, and we don't want to mess that up. You know, most men today are not having sex. There are more male virgins than there are women virgins today, because it's much more easier for women to get access to male sex than it is for a male person of my stature to have sex with a woman. It's just difficult. It's not easy. So it's a challenge. So I say again, Black women are not a barrier for Black male leadership. Men just need to lead. Men just need to execute. That's what we do. You want to attract a woman? Show her that you can finish. Show her that you're a finisher. Show her that you can execute. If you're not good at executing, hey, don't get with the woman, because if she sees you fail, she'll start thinking, hey man, this man is not a capable man as I thought he was. Women don't handle obstacles as well as men do. Men learn from their trauma. Women get stuck in the trauma. Sorry about that. We have to understand and know that men when we face trauma, we usually figure out a way and overcome it. Women, when they face trauma, they don't like it. They get stuck in the cycle. They start to complain. They're like, why am I here? What's going on? Woe is me. Men were like, okay, I got to fight through. Today's men are not comfortable failing forward. That's what I see wrong. And men need to just continue to lead, continue to set the example, and there will be no barrier. So that's my answer. That's my long-winded answer for that. And I got food here. Sorry about that, you guys. Oh snap! They made a brother some grits. We're good to go. Walter, is white supremacy a barrier to Black male leadership? Is the white man holding you down, man? Do you feel like the white man got all the opportunity? Do you feel like the white man is in 2022 can still beat you into submission, so to speak?
I feel like it can only if you let it really excuse me, I get some water. I feel like it can only if you let it. That's why I always tell people, you know, it's important to unsubscribe, especially when I talk to a married couple. I let a couple know, hey, you know, the sky's the limit. All you have to do, I let a married couple know that the male has to unsubscribe from these things. The woman has to unsubscribe from these things, and then you just start vibing together. Do you guys figure out you the two of you, aside from what this corporation says, aside from what the government says, aside from what the media says, and when you're able to vibe together, aside from those things, nothing can hold you down, especially in the era that we're in. A lot of people we don't have direct physical oppression. We have some, but it's not as prevalent as it was in the Jim Crow era. So if you get two Black people that vibe together in a relationship, whether it's a friendship, a marriage, or what have you, and they unsubscribe from certain things, nothing can hold you down. You can build your own empire. You can make millions, and so on and so forth. But if you have a man or a woman that that is subscribing to an entity saying, I can't get with him because he only makes 50,000. I can't get with her because of this reason or whatever. And men and women need to realize you can come together and build each other exponentially, and nothing can hold you down. So I guess that's my answer for it. So it can only hold you down if you let it.
White supremacy and white man can only hold you down. Okay, I agree with that. Shaniqua Mone, I like your name, by the way. It's a nice name.
This is a topic that, I'm so heavy. When I say, we and men have to be able to change their outlook. Our men is not savages. They're not unruly. They're not ignorant. They're not dumb, but because this white supremacy and this white society has made, us out that way and made our men to be out that way, they react based off of that. But I really truly feel like once they start to realize at the end of the day, they only put this image and, us because we react in that way. So I think if the Black man really realizes like, hey, if I move different and I act differently, then they have nothing to really feed off of. Stop getting out of character when somebody's quick to call you a nigga, let's be honest, because you're only giving them what they want. So if you know how to really hold it and be able to say, I'm not even going to react to that because I'm not going to give you that much because I know I'm not that, then you become unpredictable. And if you become unpredictable, then they have nothing to fight with. They have nothing to hold over your head. So I'm really big when it comes to this image, that's created, big on our Black men and not responding and reacting to it, because then you only become what they say you are. So that's
right.
Go ahead, Walter.
Right. It's all.
So is the white man holding, man? We have too many examples of success to say that the white man is holding us down. We set the tone. Hip hop, especially, runs corporations. Did you know that hip hop runs corporations? Did you know that if it wasn't for hip hop, corporations couldn't sell you anything? Did you know that Timberland boot was a work boot? That hip hop made it just the boot of all boots just because of a perception. Now every white male, every teen, every Black man in America has a Timberland boot or knows about Timberland. You see what I'm saying? We set the culture here in society. The problem is we let the white man control it. And we shouldn't do that. We let the white man control it because we don't want to read contracts.
Mm-hmm.
We let the white man control it because we don't want to put in the groundwork and build it up from nothing like they did. We don't want to start over. We want to piggyback on someone else's another ethnic group or another group of people built. We need to go back to building our own. There's a guy by the name of Jesse Jackson. I'm not a fan of him, but when they were passing out radio and radio licensing and television licensing, and they were trying to stop the monopoly and give it over to the Black people. Well, what they did was allegedly. I'm not going to accuse them. I'm going to say allegedly. This is just what I heard. This is hearsay. But what they did was they didn't tell the Black man. What they did was they told certain Black people and made them buy it and said, hey, here, we got to give these over to the Black community. So they dished it out to certain black people. And what did Black people do? They sold it right back to the white man. They gave them the monopoly. They gave them the rights to television and radio. So now we're the minority in it when they were trying to even it out. And Jesse Jackson and whatever his Rainbow Coalition, they were a part of that not getting that word out to the people because they were privy to the information, but they were rushing so they could make their money. We have to stop that. We have to stop sabotaging our people. We have to stop allowing one of the biggest issues in the Black community is our Black leaders, right? We don't trust our Black leaders. And we have every right not to trust a lot of these Black leaders because they are con men and charlatans. We will have people like Dr. Malachi York, who's obviously an intelligent man, but he's also a con artist too. We will have people like Noble Drew Ali, right, who was a circus guy, and his wife was a charmer, come in and start the Moorish temple and influence the Islamic movement here in the U.S. with American black men, and they go to jail for I don't want to say the word here on the platform, but it starts with a P. They go to jail for those things. They were doing terrible things to our children. You see what I'm saying? We have to kick out charlatans and people like that in our community. We have to, you know what? I'm a leader. I'm telling people, I'm not afraid to tell people to follow me because I'm righteous. We need people to stand up who are righteous. A lot of good people don't want to be leaders. That's the problem. They want somebody else to do the tough work. But we need everyday men and women to stand up, because we can go back to every segregation, every community march, or our black women were there. In the 60s and 70s, it were black families standing against white supremacy and Jim Crow. Today, we have more women standing, but what are they standing for? The Democratic Party? Are we really gonna go down that route? They're standing for the entities and the corporations. They're being used by the alphabet community. You see what I'm saying? We are allowing ourselves to be used by that, and we can't do that. That's why men need to step up and be men and say, you know what? We're capable, we're logical, we're intellectual enough. Let us take care of it. We need you as the women to do this, because we're going to put ourselves on the front line again, and we're going to get back what was taken from us. The first thing we're coming for is reparations. We know that's owed to us, right? There's so many things people talk about saying, oh, we don't need it, we do need it. Yeah, we do need it. But guess what? We're not going to wait for them to give it to us either. We're still going to rise no matter what. I'm for reparations and I'm against reparations, because I'm for it because we need it as a community to get back on the track to our generational wealth and things like that. And I'm also against it because I know what knuckleheads are going to do with that money when they get it. I already know. Because they don't have the mind and capacity to understand what to do with that money when they get it. They're talking about in California right now, they figured out the number. Each black family from up until the 1970s, if you were in California, if your family was in California from the 1970s and 1930 to 1970, you qualify for at least $200,000 for each individual person. Now, that's not a lot of money. But guess what? Some people can take that money and double up, triple up, and quadruple up. And you know what some people are going to do? They're going to run right to the Nike store. They're going to go right to Balenciaga. They're going to run to all these name brands and give their money back over to you know what? I'm for reparations because I'm like, let them do that, because at least there'll be no more excuses, right? To hold that black man can say the white man hold them down. Because the white man's not holding you down. The black man is holding the black man down. When we come together as a collective, that's our Messiah. We're waiting for Jesus' return. Well, Jesus is back. He's in all of us. They say God is within us all, right? So he's waiting on the collective to say, you know what? Enough is enough. But I know it has to get worse before it gets better. Because if it continues to be this nice little soft life, this fake reality that we kind of built ourselves, this matrix that we're in right now, nobody's going to wake up. They're not going to want to wake up. But the moment the going gets tough, guess what? We're not going to take it. It takes extreme uncomfortableness for change. You have to be sick and tired of being sick and tired. And the moment black men become sick and tired of being sick and tired, just like they did in Haiti, just like they did in other countries that went through the diaspora and the chattel slavery and fought for their freedom, the same thing's going to happen here. Same thing's going to happen with black men. When we're sick and tired of being sick and tired, that's when we will end systematic racism. But it won't be until then. Right now, we're thriving. Right now, a lot of black men are thriving in the system, right? You know, they figured out if they play a little bit of basketball, they get a little bit of entertainment, they can get a little bit of money. But they don't know with that money comes control. Ask Prince, ask Michael Jackson, ask Oprah, who was walking around with an ankle bracelet on because they were checking her moves, right? You know, you go take money from the, you know, I tried to be in the entertainment industry a long time ago, and I was moving up pretty fast in the rank. I got 2 SAG vouchers. You know, there were people telling me, "Oh, you don't get SAG vouchers." I didn't get a SAG voucher for 15 years. I don't know. I don't know why they gave it to me. Well, I figured it out. I figured it out because they watch you. They say, "Oh, this is the type of person that has influence, and we can use that." So we want to advance your career. We want to get behind you. And I had a person come to me and tell me, "Hey, man, if you don't need the money, don't take it. Because there's always something that they're going to require you to do when you get that money." A brother came and told me this. "Hey, man, I see you moving up pretty fast, man. I see they watching you." And I'm all green, so I'm all excited. Yeah, you know, 19, yeah, they watching me. Yeah, I'm getting up. Hey, brother, it's not what you think it is. If you don't need the money, don't take it. If they come at you and give you some money for no reason, don't take it. Because guess what? There's a string attached to it. And that's what a lot of these brothers in basketball are figuring out. Ye, Kyrie, you know, LeBron, they know, hey, you're a billionaire, but guess what? There's a string attached. You got to be this because you are owned by a corporation. And we have to decide that we don't want to be a part of that. And that's when, again, we can liberate ourselves. But we have to come together as a collective. That's where we're strong. We're strong independently. We're strong individually. But we will only be stronger, just like groups has figured out that, hey, I got to get on code. White people are on code. Hispanic people are on code. Filipinos are on code. Asians are on code. Everybody's on code but the black man. Shoot, even the sisterhood, they got a code. They're on code. They're moving. That's why they're moving up in the ranks and they're taking stuff down. But they don't understand that they're being used by these entities and these corporations. And they too are taking the money. And guess what they're finding out? That money comes with the cost. That money comes with the cost saying you can't be with that black man. You can't be with that black family. Now we're going to make you hyper independent so that you don't need a man. We're going to make you feel like we're going to build this fantasy world for you, build this soft life for you, so you don't think you need a man. And the moment you think you don't need a man, the moment you think you've risen up, you realize you're going to enter into the second phase of your life. And now no man wants you because you gave up your value at a young age and allow these corporations and entities to use it to fight their war. Politics is war. Politics is war. War without using force. And that's what they're using on our black sisters. That's what they're using on our black men. And they're taking the advantage. But we can take that back at any time. So I don't think white man can hold me. I don't think a white man can hold me back. I think I'm going to speak my mind. I think I'm going to be direct. I think I'm going to tell people what I want and tell people what I don't want. And I think I'm going to stand up and I'm going to die on my square. I'm going to stand up on my square. I'm going to live on it and I'm going to die on it. And that's where I'm at. Go ahead, Walter. Talk to us, baby.
Well, we hit the 1 hour mark, and I'll say my final point because I got an appointment I got to go to. I also want to say like and subscribe. And also, Shaniqua, when you make your point as well, please don't forget to let the viewers know whether they're viewing right now or the people on the replay, how to have access to you and your material and your services, because I believe people actually need this. And so with that, my final point is, I just think, and that was well said, Moxie. I appreciate that. That was really well said. I believe people need to stop falling for false empowerment. I think us as a Black people, we need to understand what's actual empowerment and what's false empowerment, because too many people are being raised up, like I said before, in an emperor's new clothes type of way, and they're living life according to a false empowerment. And so, even now, like what we have our men's channel right now, we speak to the men like, hey man, you need to do this and do that, right? But something that I see, and this might be a little controversial, something that I see in our society is I don't really see too many people. I see people like Shaniqua, like telling women like, hey, that's not the way, do this. Um, um, don't subscribe to this, blah, blah, blah. But is it possible that since we have male rehab, like, hey, man, you need to do this, get on code, blah, blah, blah. Is there a possible way to do a female rehab for women, a feminine, so that they can get more in touch with their femininity, instead of getting more in touch with the media and more in touch with the entities that's out here? Because even from a professional standpoint, I see a lot of curriculum and a lot of professional therapists, not you, coaching women up in the false empowerment that's presented to us by the government and by different entities. And so I wonder, as a Black people, for the Black women's side, if there can actually be a femininity, a feminine rehab or something. But yeah, with my final point, I just want to say, we just need to unsubscribe from the false empowerment that's being given to us so that we could escape those shackles.
I want to ask a quick question, man, before you go, man. I know you got to go, but I do want to ask this question real quick, man. And I just want to ask it to both of you guys real quick. Just a final question. Let me get my camera back on here. Just a final question here. Why are Black men so easily manipulated by unfavorable behaviors outside of themselves? Why do you think that is? Why are Black men so easily manipulated by unfavorable behaviors outside of themselves?
Me or Shaniqua?
You, and then I'll ask Shaniqua real quick. I know, because I know you got to go, and I don't want to keep everybody too long. I know we are at the hour mark. Again, make sure you like and subscribe to the channel, man. We went deep on this one, man. And Shaniqua, I would love to have you back up again and do another deep dive, because I want to talk about this feminine rehab. I want to talk about what we can do to restore single motherhoods to make them more attractive. I want to talk about how we can restore women who may have hit the wall, but are still beautiful, right? Are still good, can still have value to a man in some way, shape. I want to see how we can restore that, because we have a lot of women who are in my age bracket who have made mistakes, who don't know what they can do to bring value to a man at this stage in their life. And I would love to do a deep dive on that topic with you, if you're open for that.
I'm definitely open.
Awesome. So Walter, just answer this quick question real quick. I know it's like a random real, but it's a real question. This was actually one of the questions that Black women wanted to ask Black men. Why are Black men so easily, they believe that we're easily manipulated. They believe that Black men are simple and we're easy and we can be manipulated. So I want to ask this question. Why are Black men so easily manipulated by unfavorable behaviors outside of themselves? Why do you think that is?
Well, depending on the man, a lot of us aren't, but some of us are, due to social pressure. We need to ease up social pressure, because when you have different things, men are human too, and so sometimes they give in. Like, hey, I'm not getting any action from a woman, so I just need to accept one, even if she's disrespecting me or whatever it is, or I'm not getting into this industry or whatever. So I might have to lower my standards and do something that is disrespectful to myself as a man, just to get into this industry. So it's all about being able to not give into pressure. And the social pressure needs to die down. But the only way for the social pressure to die down upon men and women is if, once again, is if we just stop subscribing and allowing social entities to have so much power to put pressure on us. So that's my answer.
Okay. Same question to you. Then I'm going to answer that. And then I'm going to let you close us out, Shaniqua. And then I'm going to just give some final thoughts. So same question to you. Why are Black men so easily manipulated by unfavorable behaviors outside of themselves?
I definitely feel like it's because one, to fulfill a need underlying there, and they need that need fulfilled. And the only way it's going to be fulfilled is by, falling into some of these unfavorable positions and situations. I definitely think the underlying cause is just fulfilling a need.
Okay, very good. I just think they're weak men. Men need to be strong. Weak men will always let outside things affect them internally. I believe your inside, what you have on your inside should be stronger than what's affecting you on the outside, so we can change, because that's what men do. We change and we manipulate the world to fit us. Look at how soft we made this world for women. We've done such a good job that women believe they don't need us anymore. Okay, men have done that good. So weak men are easily manipulated by unfavorable circumstances outside of themselves. We need to be strong men. Society is raising weak men. If you put your kid through public school, guess what you're raising? And probably an effeminate male. Probably a male who's not going to stand up for himself. Probably a man who's not going to stand up for himself and stand up for his woman. Probably a male who's going to just say, you know what, this is just how it is, so let me just go along to get along. But if you start raising your children and not letting the school system raise your children, which was written by the same men who are investing in prison, right? The same books and the same prison system, guess what? They control the curriculum and the education too. So we need to understand that Black men, not just Black men, but males, period, are becoming softer, are becoming weaker just because of society and in America. I hate to say it, but some of these brothers from other countries are more masculine than you are, my brother. And you got to take it. You have to learn from some of these Hispanic men, maybe some of these African men that may not seem masculine to you in the hyper masculine way, but they're masculine in other ways. And those are things that you need to take from and learn from so you can better yourself. There's nothing wrong with piggybacking on other communities. Everybody does it to us. They take what they want from us, and then they leave what they don't want from us, right? They take our culture, they take our coolness, they take our swag, right? And what do we get from them? Nothing. So it's time we do the same thing, man. We start piggybacking on them and start building ourselves up so we can be the complete men that we're supposed to be. So Shaniqua, final thoughts on today's topic, man. Make sure you shout out your social media platforms so we get that. If you want, Walter, can you put any of that in the chat for us? If you have any of our social medias or anything like that, you can put it in the chat as well. Go ahead, Shaniqua.
I would say, while mental health is such a taboo in the community, it's the lack of addressing our mental health that's keeping us in cycles of brokenness. And believe it or not, these states of brokenness is confining us to poverty, health disparities, lack of opportunities, and the lack of skill in our interpersonal and our environmental coping. So in order to create a change and for this change to be effective, we all need to take, our mental health more serious and actually go out and get the help that we need and not feel like, oh, I'm not going to go see a shrink, or I don't need help from somebody on the outside, because we all need that help. And while our, experiences of being Black in America does vary, there are just shared cultural traumas that play a role in our mental health as a whole. So, in one aspect, our shared cultural trauma supports our ability to be resilient and to keep pressing on. But in another aspect, it honestly is greatly hindering our healing. So take mental health serious, get you some help. Again, I am an advocate just for our Black culture. God willing, I'm coming to heal our entire culture with this movement. So keep up with me. You can follow me on Instagram, and it's going to be at Lexani_love, and that's LEXANI_LOVE, and that just simply stands for love, even at a crossroad, and never isolate. So again, Lexani_love on Instagram. Facebook, you can find my group if you put in Black Love and put in help, I'm hurting from cycles of broken relationships. You'll find me on Facebook that way as well.
Oh, okay. There we go. I'm back. I got muted. Did you add me on there? I know I said I put myself. I got the invite. Was I added yet?
You probably were.
Okay. I'll check. Okay. So what I'll do is I have to redo the description of this video anyway, because I didn't know your name at the time. I want to make sure I put that on there. If you want to send me a small bio, I'll include that in the description of the video too, and I'll put a lot of your social media platform under there too, so my viewers can see who you are and subscribe, because I do believe we will be subscribing, because I liked everything you said today. I endorse this woman here. If you have any mental health issues, or you need to just get to see someone to talk to, a relation counselor, I'm going to refer them to you. There are not many people I would refer to, because there's all this other stuff going around, but I'm going to do some more research on you. I'm going to rock with you, and I'm going to join your group. And I want however way that Walter and myself can be a help to you, however way we can piggyback and collaborate on things in the future, I definitely want to do that. You're more than welcome to come to our platform anytime. Anytime you want to just pop up on stage, you just pop on in. You're welcome.
Great.
I appreciate that. Thank you so much.
Great stuff.
Awesome. Now I just want to go to, we got a couple the misses. We got a couple comments here. Nancy says, my wife here. It all begins with disunity. They are not supported from their own community. They want to stay recognized. They don't need support, and neither want to give support. Okay. Just stay united in that union. There's always going to be a whistleblower. Never to wander outside the wolf pack. That's where the wolf pack comes in. Exactly. Men need wolf packs, especially Black men. If you want to succeed, don't try to do it on your own. Find like-minded individuals. Guess what? Women can be a part of the wolf pack too, because women are in success in business and entrepreneur. Why not team up and attack a goal? Especially if you're in a licensed therapist, you might want to team up with. There might want to be a male therapist who wants to team up with Shaniqua here, and y'all collaborate and y'all put together this school of femininity, this femininity rehab school that Walter is talking about. I would love to see y'all work on that. I would love to do something here on the Patreon. Y'all go subscribe to the Patreon. It's at Too Much Moxie Podcast. That's the Patreon. Right now we have one video up. We're going to start doing more videos on a weekly basis, Walter and myself. We're going to start bringing more information. I want to actually get some more valuable information that we can put on the Patreon from our licensed therapists here as well, and maybe do some webinars and some mastermind classes and things of that sort on the Patreon. But I want to give you guys value, man. Right now, if you join the Patreon, it's just to support. It's just to support the movement. Y'all see the purple gold tea. Stay tuned. We will be bringing the purple gold tea straight from Kenya, straight from East Africa. We're bringing you 100% tea, not from the factory, from the farm, that you will love and that will keep your body healthy. And we'll give you more information on that coming in February. But man, this is a great show. This was a great show. We got to have more real conversations like this. We have to have a more straight talk, as I like to say, like this. And I love to see intelligent Black people come together. I love this, man. This is amazing. And, we're on our Blackity Black today. This is a men's channel for all races. We even invite women because we can't keep them out anyway. They're going to come. So you're more than welcome to learn and comment and all that stuff. And I just like to say, man, appreciate everybody. Walter, man, you did your job, man. Thank you for bringing Shaniqua to the platform. Y'all go subscribe to this girl's channel, man. Y'all go follow her on IG and on her get involved in her Facebook group as well too. And I'm gonna start being more active now that y'all invited me, and I'm in the club now. So we're gonna do it like that. So this has been another episode of the Too Much Moxie podcast. I am your humble host, Too Much. And we have the co-host and our special guest, Shaniqua Mone. Y'all stay tuned. Never give up. Never bow down. And we all out. Peace. We'll get it going here.
Yeah, I feel like I joined the